Hello. Hello, girly pops. My name is Singularity Dubs, and welcome back to Hello. And because you know this is a tradition, the drinks of the day is a chamomile lemon tea and water from my emotional support, Owala. And you know the drill, you are FaceTiming your best friend right now. Therefore, there's just things that we need to talk about that are a little bit harder. And today, we are talking about making friends in your adulthood and especially in a new city, how hard it can be, how you can make it. We'll talk about the fact that there's absolutely nothing wrong with you if you feel like you haven't been able to crack the code of just making connections and just forming those deep connections in your adulthood. And you're wondering, what the fuck is wrong with me? That's what we're going to talk about today. I think when we were little kids, friendships literally just happened because you were thrown into sports, thrown into after school activities, into just programs and this and that, and just school in general. So you were surrounded by people 24/7. Now, when you grow up and you're an adult and you're working or you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, you don't have this like forced proximity to anybody. When you're an adult, you actually have to put in the effort and put in the time to keep friendships going. And I think no one really prepared us for that reality, or at least not me. And if you didn't know, every single episode has a little story time from me, because what kind of FaceTime call would this be without some chisme? So here it is. When I was 19, I moved from my country to the US, okay, by myself, no family, no friends. Started literally from zero in California. And I think the fact of just moving anywhere, it's hard, but moving somewhere where the language that is spoken is not your first language. Although English has always been really, really easy for me. I definitely had a way thicker accent back then, and it was a whole story, okay? And I was working as an au pair, so like a nanny type of thing. So I was inside of the house with children 24/7, and my schedule was a mess. Honestly, would not recommend to anybody. But my schedule was a mess, and I didn't really have a lot of time to just go and interact with people. So I think that really just like set me back a lot in the whole like making friends and just making connections and all of that. Also, I think that the fact that, yeah, I came here when I was 19, and all the other girls that I could meet that they were also au pairs, they wanted to go out and they wanted to drink and they wanted to this and that, because I think that's the age to party and just go a little wild, especially when you're like in a new country where like no one's going to hold you accountable to anything because you're here for a year, maybe two, and then you go back. So people are like, might as well go crazy there. And that's never been my personality. Not that there's nothing wrong with it. I've just never really been a night out type of girly, like a club and just bars. And it really just wasn't my setting. So when I would be invited to go out, I would be like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll go. But I never really had a good time because I don't know, it just wasn't really my vibe. And if on top of all of that, you throw in the homesickness and everything that comes with leaving a country, well, I honestly really had a hard time connecting with anybody, to be honest. And I think it hit me really, really hard because my entire life, I was kind of like the popular kid. Like, it's not that I was, I don't know, freaking Regina George, but I got along with everybody. Like, everybody. The nerds, the cool guys, the people from sports, whoever it was, I got along with everybody. There was always people at my house. I was always onto something. And I think coming here and that not being my reality anymore kind of just really hit me by surprise. I was like, am I not cool anymore? What is happening? Did I just lose my spark? And mind you, I was in a very crazy relationship for a long time that did make me lose my spark, but we're gonna put that aside. We're really not gonna dive into that today. And throughout the years, because now I've been here in the US for 7 years, I've put a lot of effort into making friends. I've put not so much effort into making friends. I think it comes and goes through waves where I feel like, damn, I have like this need of being surrounded by people and just generally making more friends. And then I go through waves where I'm like, I couldn't give a single fuck. Whatever, I'm so good being by myself, I don't need anybody. But what I can say is that the times that I've put a lot of effort in and I haven't seen the return on my investment, you know, it's really hit me really, really hard emotionally. Because, you know, I'll tell a girl to go out for coffee and we go out and my head went gray and they never text me back to like go out again. Those type of things, right? So in my head, I'm like, well, sure, maybe I'll text her again to go out. And then they reject me once, and then I'll text again, and they reject me again. And at some point, I'm like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, I'm not gonna be begging you for your attention, because I think also friendships should be kind of like a 50-50 situation. Like, yeah, I'll put an effort, but I would expect you to put effort too. So when I've put a lot of effort and people just haven't been, it's not like a reciprocated thing, I kind of just back away and I ask to myself, well, what's wrong with me? Like, do people not like me? Like, am I just not fun? Am I just literally outrageous to be around? And I've blamed myself for a long time, or I did in the past. Now I generally don't really care, and I'm like, it's people's problem, not mine. And I think this is gonna take us to why making friends as an adult is so freaking hard, because it is. And as I mentioned in the beginning, we are not constantly surrounded by people. Listen, when you were little, and maybe even a teenager, and maybe even in college, I mean, you had these like built-in social structures that you had to go to school every day, and then you played at recess, and then you ate lunch together, and then you maybe did some sport in the afternoon, whatever it was, and maybe you had a play date, and you were seeing the same people over and over and over again, as opposed to now you go to work, you run your errands, maybe, you go to the gym, whatever, but then you get home. And maybe you might see the same barista, you might see the same people at the gym, but it's not the same. You're not really forced to make a connection with these people because you see them for a minute and then you pack it up and go. And I think also now as an adult, we have higher standards. And I think in episode 2, I talked about this whole drama with my neighbors that were my best friends at the time. Anyways, but we have higher standards, okay? When we were little, all it took to be your friend was that maybe you had a toy that you could share or that you could run around together. That was all it took. And as an adult, you are wondering, okay, do these people's values align with mine? Does their goals in life align with mine? At least if you're making a relationship from zero, and friendships, I mean, you kind of are reading more into it and just like looking a little deeper into, the mistakes that they make, how they speak, or I know at least I am. I want to be around people that really align with who I am, as opposed to just anybody. Because I am a huge believer that you're like a reflection of the 5 people that surround you, or like you become the 5 people that surround you, something like that. I deeply believe it. So I want to be surrounded by people that not only bring something to me, but kind of align with who I am, or who I would like to be at least. And honestly, cracking this code takes a lot of time. It doesn't happen overnight. You do have to put a lot of effort into, because, out of one coffee date, you're not going to know if another girly pop also wants to be the next millionaire under 30. And they're like, maybe if they do want to be a millionaire under 30, well, what are they willing to do to get there? Because I want to get there, clean and slay and without hurting anybody, but like, are they willing to hurt somebody? So there's just a lot of things that take time, they take effort, and yeah, it just doesn't happen from one day to the next. And let's be real, girly pops, most of us are literally exhausted. Do I really want to go out at the end of a work day to have dinner with somebody? Not really. Like, there's days where I'm genuinely barely making by as it is, because did I have to meal prep? Do I have to do laundry? Did I have to work out at 5 a.m, which is what I usually do? There's just so many things going on that I am exhausted at the end of the day, and I do not have the mental bandwidth to go interact with anybody, because my social battery on the actual floor. So if I barely have the energy to keep up with my responsibilities of the day to day, do I even have the energy to deal with relationships? Questionable. Oh, and lastly, the fear of rejection. Oh, as someone with social anxiety, this really hits close to my heart, believe me. Listen, when you were a little kid, you didn't really care if someone was gonna say no to playing with you. Like, you might say, hey, you wanna play together? Like, let's be friends. And that's it. You're literally friends, at least for the afternoon. But you're not overthinking it. As an adult, I'm overthinking. Are they gonna think I'm weird? Are they not gonna like my outfit? Are they gonna think that I'm talking too much? What if they don't text back? There's all of these what if that are happening in my brain when I'm literally trying to make a new connection, when in reality, most people are equally as willing and equally as eager to form new relationships. They might just be a little shy in initiating it, or like in showing that they want to, but most of us really want that connection. And I think that if you stop overthinking as much, are they gonna think I'm weird? Is my outfit ugly? Are they gonna think I don't have enough followers? When you stop overthinking all of that, you're going to be able to give the next step into literally just trying to make a connection. Because I know that held me back for a long, long time, where I was like, I'm not even gonna try because there's all of these things going on in my head. I'm might as well just not do anything about it, because all the what ifs are so scary that if I don't do anything, sounds better to me than rejection. And now that we know that this is genuinely something that is really hard, and now that we know why it's hard, I need you to stop blaming yourself for struggling with this. Stop it right now. And here's another little story. One time when I was in, my au pair years, so like maybe my first 2 years in the country, I went out with this one girl and we went out to have dinner. She was also from my country. We kind of share a lot of experiences together. Like, our lives were kind of similar-ish. I really, really liked her. I liked her vibe. We had dinner. Cool. We leave the place and we say, kind of the polite, like, oh yeah, we have to get together again. And I think sometimes I'm a little too literal and I'm like, yeah, we have to get together again. Like, if I say it and if you say it, then that really means in my head that we have to get together again. So we said that, and then, a couple weeks go by and I'm like, hey girl, like, do you want to hang out again? Oh, I'm busy. Okay, cool, no worries. And then I would say it again. And like, this is literally a never-ending story because this has happened so many times. And I think one day I was just like really homesick. Mind you, I never hung out with this girl again. I met her freaking once. And I was just really homesick. And I think I just was really craving that connection of like someone from my country. And I don't know if she texted me or like she reacted to like a story of mine. So I said, this is my in. This is my way in. So I texted her and I'm like, hey girl, I just have a question. So like, we hung out and you said you like me and you said we should hang out again. And I'm really just wondering, is there something wrong with me? Like, was there something about me that you didn't like? Mind you, at that point, I would never do this again. But at that point, I was genuinely having a breakdown because I was like, why the fuck are people not wanting to hang out with me? She was also an au pair. And listen, au pairs, nannies in general, we are exhausted at all freaking points of the day. Kids are draining. Anyway, so I was like, why do you not want to hang out with me? Like, was there something about me? Really tell me straight up. Like, I'm not going to be butthurt. And if you don't want to be friends, that's also fine. I just need to know what's wrong with me so I can fix it. Because I'm really trying to make friends. She just told me like, no girl, honestly, you are amazing. And I really, really liked you. It's just that I have a hard time hanging out with people. I have social anxiety and I really struggle. My social batteries are always just very depleted. So it's really nothing to do with you. I simply don't really like to go out. Could she have been lying? Absolutely. Do I want to believe that she was lying? Not really. I mean, what this interaction taught me was that a lot of times we are so focused on what am I doing wrong, that you forget that other people are actually struggling with their own little demons, okay? Maybe in reality, I did do everything right in that hangout and we did get along pretty well, but she was struggling with something at home, or she was, homesick by herself. And that's why she didn't want to hang out. It had nothing to do with whether she liked me or not. It was simply that she did not have it within her to do anything other than not hanging out. So in reality, it's not that there's anything wrong with you. It's that everyone has their own life going on and their own struggles. And in reality, everyone struggles with this. Even people that look like they have a big, strong friend group. I mean, not everyone, but I think social media has just made it look like everyone has these like big social groups and that their communities are so tight-knit, when in reality, most people feel like their relationships are not as strong as they would like it to be. And even though they do have a lot of friends, they feel like they're not reaching that, super, super deep connection where, yeah, we really know each other. We really understand each other. I think it's honestly pretty average and pretty common for people to feel like they're not as deep into their friendships as they would like. And there's nothing wrong with you for feeling lonely, I promise. I think also I've heard a couple of podcasts and like I've seen a couple of YouTube videos where people mention like, no, it's a super red flag for me when people don't have like, like long-term friendships, like since childhood and whatever else. That just says a lot about who they are. And I'm like, damn. I mean, I feel like I have a couple of friendships from childhood, but everyone's situation is like so specific to themselves. In reality, I left my country when I was 19, and because of everything going on in my country, a lot of the friends that I did have since I was a child also left the country. So I haven't seen these people and I haven't spoken to these people for the past maybe 10 years. Like it's an insane amount of time to be away from your people. And I do think that although, social media now make it really, really easy to stay connected with somebody, distance does play a huge part in friendships. And I felt so bad when people mention this, like, oh no, I would never want someone in my life who doesn't have like at least two, at least three friendship, like childhood friendships, whatever. And I'm like, damn, does that mean that no one's gonna like me? If this is what people are thinking, like, does this mean that no one's gonna like me? And in reality, you cannot beat yourself up by what others are going to possibly think of you regarding friendships. Like, I truly do not care anymore. Like, I know who I am as a person. I know like, what my values as an individual are. And the fact that I do not have a friendship since I was a baby does not define me as a person or as a friend or whatever else. And here's another thing that also like really plays with my feelings here and there. And I'm just going to mention it in case that you're also struggling with it. I think that I haven't found the people that are going to be like my bridesmaids. Now, was I married already? Absolutely. That wedding, we're not even going to count it. That is just, we're not going to count it. And although I don't really want to get married again, because just my marriage was just so dramatic, in my head, I'm like, damn, but what if in the future I do want to get married and like I change my mind or whatever? I'm not going to have bridesmaids, because I don't have those like girls that are my girls. I haven't found my girls. And that actually really does play with my emotions, because I'm like, damn, like if I do get married in the future, like who is going to be my wedding party and who's going to be my guest? Like, just all of these things. And I'm just going to say this because this is what I tell myself, and I would like to tell it to you too. Just because you haven't found your people, it doesn't mean that they don't exist. It's just a process that's still in progress, okay? It's still been happening. It's just like a shipping that got delayed. It's gonna get to you. It's just a little bit later than for other people, and that's okay. Because everyone has their own timing. Also, imagine I do have like my childhood best friends that are going to be my bridesmaids, and then they end up sleeping with the groom. Because those stories do happen, you best believe. And I would rather make friends that are not going to sleep with my groom. Honestly, all of these stories, I'm fully just making them up in my head. Like, no one's going to tell me that my friends are going to sleep with my fiance, husband, whatever. But who's to say they're not? I mean, I would rather wait for the right people than just have people just to have them. All right, now for the good part. How do we make friends? Because yes, it's hard, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. And honestly, all of these tips I've started to implement the past, 6 to 8 months-ish. And although I've been trying to make friends for a long period of time, I think I really started to stick with the if nothing changes, nothing changes type of thing. So it's like I've been telling girls to go out for coffee and like to go shoot content, whatever, but it's obviously not working. So what am I going to do differently? To just have a different approach, right? And honestly, one of the things that I can tell you has definitely made a significant change is to start saying yes. And no, it is not like the movie with Jim Carrey where you just have to say yes to everything and anything, because we also made a video about boundaries, girly pops. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend, because with saying yes, it's also going to come time for you to set up some boundaries with some people. However, if you get invited out for a dinner, say yes. What's the worst that's going to happen? Just go. You never know who you're going to meet there. You never know who you're going to connect with. For example, I got invited, and I think it was just this Thursday. This restaurant put together like a members only event type of thing. And I didn't really want to go because I was like, I'm going to get to my home tired. It's going to be past 9 p.m., which is my bedtime. And then I said, no, fuck that. I'm going to go, even if it's going to be for one drink, like a mocktail, because I don't drink alcohol. Even if it's going to be for a single freaking mocktail, I'm going to go because I want to. I want to connect with people. Like, no, I don't want to be out late at night, but I do want to connect with humans, and that's literally the only way to do it, so I'm going to go. And guess what? I did go. I actually took my boyfriend with me just because I said, like, if we're just going to take it as a date, and if we meet people there, awesome, and if we don't, it's awesome too. And guess what? I went and I saw girls that I had seen in the past. I had already met them. We chit-chatted a little bit, which was super nice. I connected with some new girls. I met new people. I met the owners of a boxing gym, which I'm actually super, super excited to go. Bottom line, I am making community within my community. But why is this happening? Because I said yes, and I just took the chance of going. And I think it's really important for us to just get into our heads that a lot of friendships just happen for being in the same place consistently. So let's say I was going to this restaurant consistently, the bartenders are going to know me, the regulars there are going to know me. If I'm going to a gym consistently, other people that work out there are going to know me. So consistency is key, but also saying yes. And alongside with the being in places consistently, I'm also going to say put yourself in places where friendships can form. Because guess what? If you are going to go to a coffee shop with a book and your headphones, no one's going to approach you because you're going to look literally unapproachable. Mind you, I know that me personally, I have the biggest RBF in history, so people don't approach me, period. Okay, I do not look like somebody who's friendly. Now, if I'm going to the same workout class every day and I'm just saying hi to people like, hi, have a good one, this and that. Also, you do not have to go into sharing your entire life story with somebody right away, like at a workout class, for example. And this is a comment for myself because I am an oversharer. For me, it's just really easy to be like, yeah, we're friends right away. Like, I don't really think like, oh my gosh, oversharing is oversharing. It's like, yeah, we're just talking. I actually talk a lot, and I think I don't really have like a filter a lot of the time. So I'm just oversharing, and then I'm like, oh, I need to shut up. This is too much. People don't like this. So put yourself in a place where friendships can form, whether that's a workout class, a pottery class, just a place that you can go consistently with people that have similar interests. Because also, guess what? Friendships that I'm probably not really looking into having is people that I'm meeting at a club on a Saturday night at 2 a.m., okay? Because that's not really my setting, and that's not really where I want to be involved on a regular basis. So get to something that you would like to do consistently, because probably the people that are in those settings are people that are similar to you to some extent. Like, for example, I just joined a book club, and this February is going to be our first meetup, and I'm super, super excited because it's also girlies that love to read fantasy. And I'm really excited and looking forward to it because I'm going to be seeing these girls week or month after month after month. And before that, I had joined a volleyball hangout type of thing. It was like volleyball and picnic, and I went probably for 2 weekends, and everyone was actually super, super nice, but I couldn't keep making it. I just really had a tight schedule, so I couldn't make it every weekend. But trust me, there's things to do around you. And if you live in San Francisco, girly pop, I got you. If you like to play tennis, you're a little bit sporty, there's this club called Courtside Angels. It's free. They meet every weekend, and they take people from all different levels. Like, you do not have to be a pro. I went literally once. I had a blast. Literally everyone I met there was so, so nice. It was all girls, so I felt really, really comfortable. But I have no idea how the fuck to play tennis, so I literally didn't keep going. Actually, I should go again because I really, really had a lot of fun, and I'm never gonna get better unless I attend. Anyways, Courtside Angels. This influencer called Side of Steph, which we're actually mutuals, and she's such a sweetheart. She hosts monthly meetups. I've gone to a couple. I want to say maybe 2 or 3, maybe 2, honestly. Every meetup I've gone, everyone's been so friendly. Everyone's just being a charm to be around, and I've actually come out of those meetups with a couple of friendships that I'm like, oh my goodness, these girls are literally like me, and no one's being nothing but nice. So I think that community just feels also very, very safe. If you're a creator, there's this one called Creators Club, and they meet every month. I'm not really sure how it works, if you need an invite or not, but check out their socials, DM them, check it out. Also, check out Facebook groups, honestly, and be mindful. Do not be throwing yourself into dangerous situations. But for example, I have Bay Area Adventure Gals, BAAG, and they're always posting what's going on, what they want to join. That's where I got the volleyball one from. I also got another book club from there. There's always things happening. You really just have to put in the effort to be out there and put yourself into situations where you can meet people. And once you're in these situations, you're in the perfect place with the people and everything else, you need to initiate if no one's initiating it. Now, I have a really, really hard time initiating. Not to say that I would never do it, but I have a hard time doing it. And my only solution to this is to have a good enough outfit that can break the ice for me. Because in my head, I'm like, if people see my outfit and they really like it and they're going to tell me, oh my gosh, where did you get that dress from? That's an in. I have a hard time just making the first connection, but if someone else makes it, I can continue it from there. So do whatever works for you, whether that is being really overdressed so that somebody can comment on your outfit, or if you're confident enough to go up to somebody and initiate it, just do it. But initiating, great idea. And I know it can feel really, really scary, but if you're the one to make the first move, I mean, worst comes to worst, they just ignore you and then you move on and go to somebody else. Maybe you cry a little bit in the bathroom, but you're gonna be fine. And listen, sometimes a simple "we should go get coffee" can take you such a long way. I've had girls that have DM'd me and said, oh my gosh, we should go get lunch sometime. Yeah, you best believe, let's go get lunch. When? Tell me when. And never have I ever judged anybody for texting me that. So why would you assume that somebody's gonna judge you? Would you judge somebody? Not really, huh? And have you ever really thought that maybe, just maybe, you don't need new friends? You simply need to nurture the friends that you already have. Because sometimes we're all like a little bit of a victim to this, where we're like, no, nobody really wants to hang out with me. Nobody really texts me. Are you texting them? Are you putting in the effort that you expect others to put in for you? Just saying. And I think even if you do make new friends, putting the effort and nurturing relationships has to get done. Whether it's by you or by the other person, by both of you, it has to get done. So maybe just text on all friends, set up a FaceTime, go have lunch, a little coffee moment. Just try to nurture the relationships that you already have or the ones that you're creating. But effort, you best believe, needs to be put in. And girlies, with this effort, you have to be consistent, because you best believe friendships are not built off of one text, off of one lunch, off of one coffee, okay? Think about it like dating. Would you be chatting with a guy on Tinder and then, actually no, we kind of hate Tinder. Would you be chatting with a guy on Bumble and then after one conversation expect to be the guy that you're going to marry? Not really, right? I mean, you're probably going to have to go on a couple dates, talk a little bit more, chit chat, meet his family, meet your family. Do you guys want to have pets? Do you guys want to get married? Do you guys want kids? There's just so much effort being put into a relationship, like a love relationship. What makes you think that there should be effort put into a friendship? Just saying. Just saying. And girly pops, I know that this can feel discouraging at times, but if there's anything that you're taking away from this podcast, is that I want you to know that there's nothing wrong with you for having a hard time by making friends. It doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It doesn't mean that you're not interesting enough. It just means that you're navigating adulthood and navigating something that no one really prepared us for. And that friendships take time, they take a lot of effort, but they're absolutely possible. And if you're struggling with it, just give yourself a little bit of grace. Just be patient with yourself and put yourself out there. And trust that your people are out there. They're just taking a little bit of time to get to you. And as per usual, girly pops, if you really like this video, don't forget to share it with a friend, comment. And also, if you're struggling with friends and just connection in general, my DMs are always open to you and to listen to your struggles. You can find all of the podcast socials at It's a Law Podcast and all of my socials at Ingalardubs. And once again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for listening to me. Besitos.